So now that our model is finished and we've added those last minute tweaks and customizations like this registration plate, we can now get it ready to submit our competition entry. Now, one of the main ways to do this is by actually sharing your model, which you can do by clicking File, going to Share, selecting Link, and if you just tick these first two boxes, you can then click Copy, and then you can share a direct public link through your teacher into the competition, which will give the judges access to your actual file itself. Another good way of doing this is by submitting some digital renders of your design. So what that is just a photorealistic version of your model. To do this, we go from the design workspace in the top left, and we're going to go over to render instead. Now, this workspace has a similar layout. We've still got some of our navigation tools along the bottom, our view cube in the top right, our browser with all of our different bodies and files, and again, we've got our tools along the top. Again, with this, we're trying to work from left to right, so we need to make sure our design is set up. Then we just need to decide whether we're going to do an in-canvas render or a cloud-based render. So first thing we're going to do is, since we already have our appearances, we're going to go over to scene settings instead. Now with this, it's going to give us a load of different options, and it's all just about making sure that our background and the actual setup of the render itself is how we'd like it to be. For example, we can change the brightness up and down. We can decide whether to have a flattened ground, or whether we just want to be floating in an open space. We can change the perspective of our camera along with the focal length. So if we want to go all zoomed in really close like an old 90s hip hop video, or whether we just want to leave it as it is and be a bit more in perspective. A really good one that I've found to use is making sure that the depth of field is selected. So what that does is it allows a bit of black background blur on your photos. This makes it look a lot more like a realistic photo and not just a screen version of a design. So we need to select where our center of focus is. I'm going to go with this front corner of the car. And again, make sure your blur isn't set too high if there's details elsewhere around this that we want to show off. So I'm going to leave mine at about 0.3. If you get really happy with those, you can also save those as your defaults, or if you've done something and it's not quite right, you can click this restore to defaults. Really big one for getting a bit more creative is the background. You can change this from solid color over to environment. And what this allows for in our environment library is to select some different 3D backgrounds that we can choose to have for our design. So if we just orbit around, you'll see it puts it in a variety of different 3D environments. I'm going to leave it on this one because it's got a nice road for our car to follow. And then we can just simply click on render once we're happy. You can either do an in-canvas render where it uses your own computer's power, or we can use Autodesk cloud-based software and we can send one off to the digital cloud. What this will do is it will send it off to some online servers, and it just means we can continue with our work and whatever we're doing on Fusion, and it'll just ping back to us once it's finished. You can do custom settings in terms of your image size and the quality. What I like to do, just to keep it simple, is put it on print, do it as a cloud render, final, and then you just simply choose the megapixels that you want to include. I'm quite proud of my design, so I'm going to go for this 8.4 megapixel. Click on render. Once your renders are finished on the cloud, they will be sent back to you and they will be stored inside this rendering gallery here just at the bottom. To look at one of your digital renders, just click on the thumbnail. From here, you can then download the render using the download symbol just here. Save it as the file type that you'd like. Select where you're going to save it to. Click save and you can enter that as part of your competition entry. So since this is the last video, just left to say, I'm really excited to see the designs that you come up with, and good luck to everyone involved. I hope you really enjoy the competition.